So your soul well-being, what does that mean to you? How does someone get their soul,
Soul
feeling
well-being.
well,
Right,
feeling
right.
your
Exactly.
sense of well-being?
It's a
Because
really
that's really what we're all in search of, right? No matter how much money you have, how much power, you can't buy peace of mind. You can never have enough. So how do you get to that place where you have a soul well-being? That's what
Good
we're all in
question.
search of,
Good
right?
question,
That's
isn't it? Yeah.
the billion-dollar question,
Isn't it?
the
And
timeless question.
timeless question, and I think a really relevant one for all of us right now, because we're asking how we live better lives, I think, and how do we make changes on the planet. And so in that journey, I was traveling without an agenda because I wanted to create that sense of space.
Cool.
And removing like time and planning and to be on something that would flow and express itself. So there was one day, I was in Edinburgh actually, and so I'd done this trip through Edinburgh to go to Ireland. So I started there without, anywhere to stay, any timelines, and just sort of each day followed my intuition to see where I'd lead. So this is kind of how this has started. And I had started in Edinburgh because I was really interested in social enterprise. So here's the other piece that was coming in. And part of the question was, how do we start taking health and well-being and moving it into ways where we really create change in the world? And I think that's always, any of us that want to help people heal, it's always about how do we create change and how do we make people's lives better. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, how do we take that outside of clinics? How do we take that outside of, say, a yoga studio? And how do we start bringing it integrating it into our lives? That was sort of the question. So as I was walking down the street, I'd seen like a poster or something. And it had like a circle of a sun with SOL on it. And it just sort of came into me in this image of like, I saw soul well-being, and it sort of came into me like in this logo, and I went, I wonder what that is. And I wrote it on a napkin, sitting in a coffee shop.
And it was a spark to a great idea.
And it was the spark to this. And underneath
cool.
it was the beginning of the question, was the whole journey came from that question of how do we do this different?
And what were your conclusions? What did you come up with?
So where I've ended up with it is still open questions, but the journey of it took me to how do we start asking more questions about what's possible, and leaving this question of what soul well-being looks like as an open question, and then trying new things. So how do we take meditation and now bring it into the everyday? Like how do we, you'll start even our interview with a little bit of meditation.
You saw that, yeah.
Yeah. And I was trying to do it, but I'm a little more nervous than you because, and so.
Sometimes my guests want to poke me and say, you're taping in 10 seconds. You
What
should
are you
open
doing?
your eyes right now. But it's such an integrated part of my life now. If I arrive 2-3 minutes early to a meeting, it's such a no-brainer to turn the car off and just grab 2 or 3 minutes of meditation in the seat. In fact, I gave a TED talk, 2 eyelids, 2 lungs, 2 minutes. Right. You don't need to have the perfect 2-hour meditation with the candles and the incense and nothing wrong with any of that, but that's sometimes not how life works. Grab those little 2 or 3 minutes of recharging your set along the way.